For those who need it, buying a property for over $500,000 gives foreign investors a golden visa, residency permits, and a European Union passport. Further east, all the residences in the 200-meter-tall Riviera Tower have been pre-sold for an average price of $3.7 million. The skyscraper is part of the first phase, which is expected to be finished by 2026. And since it already reached 20% of its total height and is currently growing one floor every 5 days, it seems like the project is going pretty darn well so far. The same goes for Illiniken's commercial hub located in the northeastern part. More than 2/3 of leasable space has already found a tenant. But while all of this sounds great, the reality is that Greece will have a tough time competing with Dubai on most of these areas. Greece is not, and can't afford to be, a tax haven. And while the country is doing better, it still doesn't have anywhere near the money to have all of the extra sites that Dubai has. So what do you think? Is Greece really starting to build a new Dubai? And do you want to visit the Illiniken once it's finished? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Athens, a city with deep history and a key part of Western civilization, is now undergoing the biggest urban redevelopment in all of Europe. As part of this project, Greece is building its tallest skyscraper, but that's just a small piece of the megaplan. The goal is to compete with Dubai's high-end developments but with much more green space instead of a desert landscape. We look at this more than 20-year-old plan finally being realized and put it under the microscope to see if it really is as unique as Greece and Athens promises. Before we can really understand this massive new mega project, we need to take a look at Greece and Athens for a few moments. Landmarks make their cities distinguishable in an instant, but Athens might be the most recognizable European city even without the imposing Parthenon. A look at any random part of the city's panorama easily reveals its identity. The light building colors, their uniform height, and the constant concrete and stone make Athens seem antique even when cars, drones, and LED billboards are buzzing. For over 2,500 years, Greeks have valued the agora, an open space for gathering and discussion, but today Athenians often struggle to find a shady spot for their meetups. Only 11% of the city's surface is covered by trees. That's almost rock bottom of all the European capitals, none of which need the air and the shade more than the southernmost continental capital in all of Europe. In 2007, citizens had to endure a record high temperature of 44.8 degrees Celsius. A quarter of the trees in the mountains surrounding the urban center have sadly been lost in the last 6 years. The situation is so dire that the mayor even announced a plan to plant 25,000 trees in the next 5 years. The rapid population boom of Athens in the last 190 years also didn't leave much room for sufficient planning. Back then the city only counted about 4,000 people. When looking at satellite images today, it's hard to find any spots of green. And this is where the Illiniken comes in to give the Greek capital a new pair of lungs. Though some describe it as a brand new standalone city, Illiniken is actually a new neighborhood being built in the southern suburbs of Athens, and it's a pretty big one at that. After all, it's being developed on the land of this abandoned airport. An area of 6.2 square kilometers, just slightly smaller than Gibraltar, is about to become an oasis for a city that desperately needs it. Illiniken means Hellenic or Greek and will offer more than just a green urban space. It will have everything a modern place of living needs to have, a mixture of residential, commercial, cultural, sporting, tourist, and educational facilities. The site will also become home to the tallest skyscraper in Greece and the Mediterranean, in addition to a total of around 6,500 new apartments. Those will be balanced by 2.5 square kilometers of green open space, which is about 75% the size of New York's Central Park. All of this will increase the amount of green space in the Athens metropolitan area by a whopping 44%. At the making of this video, over 900 trees and 880,000 different regional plants have already been planted. The total goal is set at 31,000 trees from 86 different species and over 1 million Mediterranean native plants. For comparison, the just mentioned Central Park has only 18,000 trees. Athens' jam-packed metropolitan area has nearly 3 million people living in it. Hence, it's kind of confusing that the Illiniken area hasn't been used so far, especially given that it's fully surrounded by a thick urban network in all directions. The project sits in a prime location right on the beach in Athens, and it's well connected, just a short trip to the busy port of Piraeus, 30 kilometers from a new airport, and a half-hour drive to the city center, and already linked to the metro on its eastern edge. So how come this prime real estate only began construction in 2021? Well, initially the Ellinikon was an airport with the same name, serving Greece until 2001. But again, the area was too good and big to stand idle. So in 2004, it was used for the Summer Olympic Games and later as a refugee center. But that's still a long time for such a prime piece of land to remain pretty much unused. So what happened? It's actually an interesting story. In 2005, over 300 teams of architects competed for the chance to design the area into a park. But only 3 years later, the financial crisis hit Greece like a wrecking ball. At some point, the country was $333 billion in debt. I guess that's kind of an achievement. This led to a steep decline in both public and private spending, and as a domino effect, property values plummeted by nearly half and scared away really any investors. But then, in 2014, one of Greece's largest real estate developers, Lambda Development, managed to secure the rights to develop the project. But due to the financial crisis, the development rights were not formally transferred until 2021. So you can see the years quickly added up. Now construction has finally been underway for quite some time now, and the megaproject is actually starting to take shape. The first phase is scheduled for completion by the end of 2026, with the entire development expected to be finalized by 2037, estimated to boost Greece's GDP by a whopping 2.4%. But the big question is, will all of this be enough to compete with Dubai? Music. Greece has recognized the huge potential of tourism, taking inspiration from cities like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Doha, which attract visitors all year round. And a key selling point for the Ellinikon is the much shorter flight from major European cities, which are all under 4 hours, far shorter than a trip to the Emirates, and therefore a pretty interesting alternative. Projections estimate that Athens will see an extra 1 million tourists each year, a 15% increase from the current 6.4 million annual visitors. But Dubai has the Burj Khalifa, artificial islands, giant aquariums, museums, and so much more, which begs the question, what attractions will bring people to the Ellinikon? Besides the unique and green scenery, tourists will be drawn in by the largest shopping mall in Greece being built in the eastern area of the plot. On the western side, the well-known American brand Hard Rock is developing a resort with a major casino for around $1.5 billion. Also, Ellinikon will have the luxury of a 1.5 kilometers beachfront on the world-famous Aegean, alongside the marina. These will be the key selling points of the Athens Riviera. Additionally, the Ellinikon Experience Park, which has already attracted over 3 million visitors in just 3 years of operation, offers more than 22 unique and immersive technological exhibits and digital activities to discover the redevelopment project. But the bread and butter of this project is still the luxury real estate. And the most interesting of the several residential areas will be located in the Little Athens neighborhood, located between the beach and a massive park. It's been a clear candidate for the most in-demand section of the project. Within it, the Park Rise residences stand out, offering views of the sea and the mountains. As of the making of this video, 60% of the 1,115 residences have been reserved by buyers, with almost half, 40% of them coming from abroad. Oh,